What is going on, guys? OTG Phil sitting across from me, and my newly found handle, OTG Daryl.
Did you make that change?
Not yet. I need to, dude. I've been talking about that, guys. I've been failing. I've been not executing. I've been telling Phil for like
oh man, at least a month
that I'm gonna change my handle to OTG Daryl on Instagram, but
still waiting.
Right now, it's still Fitness Dude 91. I'm just kidding. It's not actually
Crushing it.
Fitness Dude crushing it 91. That's me. Look me up. No, that's not actually it, but it will be OTG Phil or Daryl at some point in the near future, man. Anyhow, back at it again with the podcast in the massive 200,000 square foot facility that we bought just for this podcast.
Just for the podcast.
Yeah, a couple million, no big deal.
It's whatever.
We use approximately 25 square feet of it for the podcast, and the rest of it is just open. So, just kidding.
Because it looks cool.
Spare bedroom. That's all we got going on here. Couple of guys,
Nice pen.
True red, even though it's black. I actually wrote with it. It writes black, so it should be like a true black pen. And notepad, man. I think we've got a pretty good one today, Phil. I think we got something that's relevant that you and I have. We have a lot of experience with, especially you. So it'll be easy for us to really elaborate on this topic, and I want to discuss the age-old question and I guess idea that there is a magic diet or workout plan that everybody's seeking, and once you find it, you're going to have it made, and that's all there is to it. You know, it's like it's a like I said, it's a secret pill, right? Magic.
Yeah.
So the which diet or workout regimen is best. So I'm gonna let you go first. I'm gonna let you start on this. Talk about let's hear what your thoughts are as far as when somebody comes at you with that question, how do you begin to, I know how you feel, but how do you begin to explain to somebody from your point of view, kind of if they're a beginner, right? If they're newer to the topic and they come to you and they ask you, hey, what's the best as far as these two things? Go ahead.
Yeah. So, I mean, I personally think, and from working with a lot of people, that, there's no one diet that's going to, make or break you, or there's no one diet that works the best. And people ask me like, oh, well, what do you eat? And you're not going to be impressed.
Right.
To be honest, there's nothing inherently special about any of these diets, whether it's the ketogenic approach, a paleo approach, vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian. There's a lot of these different
carnivore.
Yeah.
The carnivore diet.
That's the best one.
I only eat moose, and that's it. I'm a moose eater. I attack them, but it doesn't count unless you kill them with your bare hands.
It's got to be raw.
Yeah, it's got to be raw. I eat it raw with the fur
cooking.
On it. Well, just take a bite straight out of the side of a live moose. That's the only way to build muscle, right?
There's no
live
other way
moose
to lose weight.
It has to be alive.
Yeah.
You have to bite it right out of his hip when he's walking by. Carnivore.
Raw.
It's the best one.
Raw moose carnivore.
Oh, yeah, you can't cook it.
Raw moose carnivore.
Well, you'll cook out all the protein. So can't have any of that.
Yeah, and see, all that stuff, man, people hear that because there's a lot of people that advocate for stuff like that. Like, you're obviously what Daryl just said was a huge joke.
Right, I've never bitten a live moose. Never even seen a live moose, I don't think.
But there's so many of these people that they got results with a certain diet, so that they talk about it and they preach about it and they think that that's the best approach. And unfortunately, people hear this and they feel like they have to do that approach, and so they go and try it. And then when they fail, not only do they fall back to where they started, but they go to a worse place because now they heard someone talk about how the keto diet or the raw moose carnivore approach was the end all be all. So when they fail, when they bite into that moose and they don't love it, and
they're not ripped instantly.
Yeah, exactly. And then the next, maybe they do it for a week or two and lose a couple pounds, but when it doesn't work out, not only did they not move forward, but they now just
Probably regressed.
They took a huge hit to their confidence as well.
Because
It's a really unfortunate thing that happens all the time in the industry.
Yeah, because so-and-so got results, and so since I didn't, I'm not as good as so-and-so.
Yeah,
the
and
comparison thing.
That's 100% not true. Everybody has their own approach, and at the end of the day, it really, truly, as cliche as it sounds, is about making a total lifestyle change and finding what works for you. And one small thing, and then we can, obviously move on to like other parts of this, but one thing that I want to mention before I forget that I think a lot of people need to keep in mind, people often ask about all these little details, all the, like, which type of lettuce is the best? Which protein powder should I use? Like
Moose.
Derived moose.
Yeah, eat a moose.
But, all those questions are irrelevant because most people, the advice they need is less pizza, more veggies, and not which type of lettuce is the best.
Right. Well, and I like pizza.
Yeah, me too. That's how people get upset when I tell them I eat pizza almost every weekend, except with 75 hard.
All right, 75 hard moose. No, you touched on something there that the most important thing for picking a diet and workout regimen or regime, whichever word you want to use if you're feeling fancy. When you're picking this out, and we're going to go back to a previous episode where we talked about, what is the goal? Is your goal to lose weight? Because not everybody's goal is to lose weight. Some people want to put on muscle.
Right.
Some people, there's different. They're pursuing different goals.
Yeah. The outcome is.
So there's some really basic. There's some really basic things that are always true, no matter what diet you're following, and unless you're eating moose only, which is going to work.
That will work every time.
But on a serious note, for example, these constant truths. There's a couple of them here. Number one, let's say, because I feel like the most common fitness goal
is weight loss.
Weight loss.
Yeah.
Something that is always true with weight loss, always, is you are going to have to expend more calories than you are consuming. You're going to have to burn more than you intake.
Yes.
In versus out. No matter what, you can eat, if you're eating a ketogenic diet, if you're eating a paleo diet, if you're eating a vegan diet, if you're eating a pescatarian diet, and if you're eating moose only,
no matter what,
you're going to have to eat less calories of live moose.
Yes.
Less calories of live moose than you're burning. You got to be burning more.
Yeah.
You have to be in a deficit.
And on that note, I want to throw it out there that it's a lot easier to consume less than it is to burn more.
Right.
So the quick, easy comparison is to think about, let's use 500 calories, for example. If I were to tell you that I need you to burn 500 calories, how long does that take?
Oh, I couldn't even actually put a number on it.
45 minutes or so on the treadmill. 45 minutes to an hour.
You got to be going fast enough.
Yeah.
Stand on the treadmill and not move for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's not going to
So, in an hour workout, you'll, 500 to 800 calories, you know what I mean? Something like that is pretty standard.
And then think about taking in 500 calories.
3 seconds.
Probably do it in 30 seconds.
3 seconds. Yeah.
Peanut butter, pizza, moose.
Couple bites of pizza.
Yeah,
you know
seriously.
what I mean? And that's not a joke. Very true. One chocolate chip cookie is 300 calories probably.
I think your average Chick-fil-A chocolate chip cookies, which are awesome. Shout out. I'm not sponsored, but I should be. I think they're 250? 250 or 300?
It's something like that, 300. Yeah.
So, and they're not very big. I mean, it's not like you're eating a massive, the size of a dinner plate cookie, for 250 calories. So just put that into perspective. I think that while keeping in mind you're going to have to burn more than you intake, also consider the fact that, what Phil's talking about here is make a better diet decision than don't be the person that's like, oh, I'll burn it off later when I go to the gym.
No, it's not.
It's going to add up quickly, and it's going to be harder.
It's going to be way harder.
It's going
to be way harder to do that. And you should always take an approach that is going to work for you for several years to come. Mm-hmm. So if you know that, I could eat this extra 500 calories and burn it tonight on the stairs. Well, are you going to do that every day for the rest of your life?
What's the most?
If not, then don't commit to it.
Yeah. What's the most? Help me find the word here. What's the most practical? Are you gonna always do an extra hour on the Stairmaster because you want to eat a cookie every day? I guess there's some people out there that are like that, but I'm not that person.
No, me neither. And I think most people aren't. Who has that kind of time either? We're advocates for, shorter duration, higher intensity, style workouts.
And you combine that with eating less calories,
it's
going to work.
Yes. And, moderate to high protein, which we can get into those details as well. But, you don't want to commit to something on day one that you can't do on day 1,000. It's
got to be sustainable.
A few years later.
It's got to be sustainable. And, speaking of being sustainable, don't pick a diet if you are somebody who doesn't necessarily prefer to eat meat and you don't thoroughly enjoy it. Don't pick a keto diet.
Because keto is a ton of meat. It's not going to work.
Yeah, I'm not telling you, oh, well, my favorite food's ice cream, so I'm going to get my 2,000 calories from ice cream every day. That's not going to work either.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing is, did you ever hear about that? There was a study a few years ago that the guy was trying to prove that calories and protein are the most important thing. So it was a scientist, and he did blood work and everything.
Let me stop you here. He was trying to prove that a calorie is a calorie is a calorie. So your caloric intake and protein intake were more important than. So if you're getting 2,000 calories of protein, it's better than getting 2,000 calories of carbs. Is that what you're going with?
Yeah.
This?
Well, the outcome that he was looking for was that as long as your protein is high enough, whether you do a keto approach or a vegetarian approach, which are let's use carnivore and vegan.
Moose.
Two totally opposite things, right? His argument was that as long as your protein is high enough and your calories are under control, then whether you do carnivore or veganism doesn't matter.
What was the outcome?
The outcome was exactly that. This guy, for 30 days, he supplemented with whey protein. So he had multiple whey protein shakes, 30 days straight. All the rest of his calories came from Twinkies for a month.
So this guy drank protein powder and ate Twinkies, and that was it.
So
what's this guy's name?
I don't remember the exact study.
When I'm through with my moose diet, I might try that one out.
Definitely, look it up. I don't know all the details. I'm sure there was more.
It doesn't matter. I was just being
he
funny.
used protein powder, a multivitamin, and then like a bunch of like Twinkies and cake and stuff. You know what I mean?
Zebra cakes
and cosmic brownie.
Oh, son, don't even. Hey, dude, don't get me started.
Don't get me started on ding dongs.
Well, those are better than a honey bun.
Star Crunch.
Star Crunch is the best. Star Crunch is the best. Don't at me, or whatever that saying is.
But so the point was, after 30 days, this scientist had lost a few pounds. I don't remember exactly how much. All of his blood panels got better.
Really?
Yep. And so the point is, at the end of the day, whatever diet approach that allows you to get enough protein and keep your calories under control is going to be the best.
So kind of if it fits your macros type approach with everything else, right? So if your protein was where it needed to be, everything else, if it fit your macros, it was fine.
But here's the kicker, I guess. Nobody can do that for extended amount of time,
right?
Because you're going to be starving. So while that's true, you also have to take into account how you feel.
Right.
Think if you
don't feel good, you're not going to stick with it.
Feel good, if you're not able to exercise, your stomach's always messed up.
Yeah.
You know, you're tired all the time.
Lethargic, yeah.
Yep. It's not going to work over a long period of time.
It'll play on your mind.
Yeah.
too.
While the science shows that get enough protein, keep your calories under control, you're fine. You also have to take into consideration how you feel. How hungry you are. Can you be starving all the time?
No, it comes back to the word sustainable.
That's right.
And, you know, people go on the crash diet, right? They're like, oh, well, they know the truth that we just spoke. You have to eat less calories than you burn. So they go, well, I'm going to eat 500 calories a day, and that's it. Not sustainable. No matter where you get those 500 from, that's not going to work for you long term. And what happens is they regress. They lose 15 or 20 pounds, and then they give up 2 weeks in, and they regress, and they gain 30 or 40 pounds.
Yeah.
So they gain their 15 or 20 back plus extra.
Plus more.
Yeah, plus more, and they regress. So I want to mention one thing that correlates with this, and then I want to flip this around and talk about one different also common fitness goal. So one thing, so all this, I've been through this, right? I've been the guy that's looking for the quick fix, and I can't stick with anything long term, and then I blame it on something, and it's bullshit. It's really my fault because I didn't have any consistency. Also, when it comes to this is applicable in the money world. if you're spending more money than you're making,
it's a great analogy.
You're never gonna save.
A lot of times analogies make zero sense, but this is a place where it makes total sense.
Right.
It's the same thing. You have a budget. You follow the budget.
Right. Well, you know that you bring home X $100 a month just for an easy number.
Yeah,
that's not very much money.
Let's use like a couple thousand or something.
$2,000 a month.
Yeah,
and you're spending, so between your rent and all your bills, you only have, between the necessities, you only have 500 left, and you're spending 600 on frivolous, whatever. It's shoes,
eating out and alcohol, or
beer,
something stupid.
it's food. Guilty for a long time. It's never gonna. You're never gonna. The math doesn't work,
right?
And so this is applicable to a lot of different things. So I just want to touch on that because we kind of pivot between those things on the podcast. Real life experience, fitness, business, whatever.
Yeah, they're definitely very relatable
directly. Okay, so let's get back to the what would be considered a fitness goal. So the first one we talked about was so I said there was a couple of constants here, things that are always true.
While we're on the weight loss thing, though, why don't we talk a little bit about what you did last year, getting prepped up for the wedding?
Oh, okay, yeah, sure. We can.
I don't know. I mean, we've talked about it a little bit. But we were both really busy at that time. You know, we were working out together every once in a while.
Probably once a week or so we would hit it at that time.
But we never. I really don't know exactly what you did. So let's kind of talk about where you started, where you ended, because that was the first time for a long time. I know that you were telling me, "Hey, I want to, get in this shape. I want to do this thing."
It was the only time since probably high school where I was serious and I committed to it, instead of just talking about it. And there was times since high school, which was a long time ago now, that I talked about, I'm doing this thing, or I'm getting in shape, or blah, blah, and I never stuck to it. And maybe I would lose a little weight. Maybe I would gain a little bit of muscle. And I always just did this number. I was back and forth. I fluctuated. So I had no consistency. But this was the first time. So let's dive into that.
But you always consistently worked out.
I always consistently worked out. I was always training multiple days a week.
It was just the diet,
weightlifting. Yeah, it was my diet was always all over the place. I never had a problem, and to this day, I don't have an issue going to the gym. I enjoy lifting weights. I really don't even mind cardio, as long as it's not every single day, and as long as I can get some outside here and there. I like to go jog or walk outside. I don't mind working out as much as I do following a strict diet. and or a
Well,
diet, a
that's
diet
pretty.
in general.
That's pretty typical of males. You know, we really
Yeah, I would
we
say-
like to work out. We like to feel strong.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I feel like the diet is a bigger challenge.
It is.
And so, yeah, I always consistently worked out. I kind of got my base in high school, you know, playing football and powerlifting. So I kind of knew my way around. I wasn't like a pro, but I knew my way around. And, you know, I knew the basic truths. You're going to have to eat less calories than you burn to lose weight. And you're going to have to go into a surplus, which we're going to talk about after this topic, to put on muscle. And it can't just be a surplus from just ice cream. You know, you had to be like in a surplus of protein and more. I don't really love the word clean, but you know, there's a difference in getting a carbohydrate from rice and getting it from refined sugar. So we'll go into that in a minute too, but. So yeah, 2019 rolled around, which I got married at the end of 2019, late 2019. And I told myself, you know, at some point earlier, I can't remember an exact day, but I told myself earlier that year, earlier in 2019, probably for sometime first quarter, that I am going to get into the best shape of my life for the wedding. I don't know, it was just something that it weighed on me heavy. And it was just an idea that it wasn't something that I thought about for a long time. It was just, bam, I thought about it and I was going to do it. And so I had to get real with myself and say, okay, what are my issues? Okay, let me back up. So the goal was best shape of my life by the wedding. I laid the goal out.
Okay.
That's what I wanted to do. And what am I going to have to do to get there? I'm going to have to work out consistently. I'm going to have to keep my caloric intake under control consistently. And those are the two main things, right? So let's just talk about those and none of the other stuff. Because there's a couple things I had to get my mentality right and stuff. And I had to make sure that I tracked myself. But that kind of falls in line with those two big ones. And so I laid it out. And I remember I wrote it down and I was like, well, you know, I don't have any issues right here. Even at that time, I was weight training pretty consistently. I had no issue, at least 4 days a week, going to the gym, moving weights. And I was probably actually even doing cardio in one form or another, whether I was walking the dogs or whatever. And I looked at what I had and I was like, this diet is the problem. I drank a lot of alcohol. I wouldn't say in large volumes all at once, but pretty consistently, multiple days a week, I'd have some drinks. And the adverse effects of alcohol, not only are they excess calories, but
you eat bad at the same time.
I was getting to that one, but you're gonna end up getting a little buzz going on, and you're not gonna make a good diet decision. Yeah, they usually go hand in hand. Yeah, always for me, that was my problem. But also they play on the hormones, especially of males. I think they drop the test levels. I think
usually you don't like. You might feel like you sleep good. Like
this is not
rest. My specialty or anything, but you don't sleep as good.
Yeah, so
you're not as rested the next day.
Yeah, you're not as rested the next day. Your test levels are lowered for multiple days after drinking I can't remember what the numbers are. I did some research on it. But so there's just a lot of adverse effects of alcohol. And on top of that, I was just eating pretty much whatever I wanted. I ate a lot of pizza, ate a lot of chips and salsa at the Mexican restaurant. There was just a lot of things going on.
So what, like, tangible advice here? Like, what did you do?
Yeah, I ran about everything.
Yeah.
So I decided I was going to get in the best shape. I wrote those two things down. I realized the diet was the issue, and I started to chip away at it. I was like, hey, alcohol, man. Alcohol's got to go. That was the first thing.
Number one.
That was the first thing. So I kicked alcohol out. I still kept my training every day. Maybe I threw an extra day in there or something. And then after that, it was kicking out like the refined sugars. Big cereal guy, ice cream guy.
Yeah,
There's a lot of things.
We like cereal also.
And I've also noticed that dairy isn't really good for me. It doesn't make me feel good. I don't want to say that I'm intolerant. So that eventually went. And then when we started getting closer, I think, maybe July or August time frame, Actually, it was August, right after my birthday. That's when I said, okay, I need to count these macros. I need to make sure that I'm hitting this protein number and my carbs are down this low. And then I ramped up the cardio, and to shorten it all up, I lost 45 pounds. I went from 230 to 185. Actually, I think it was 184 the day that I got married when I woke up that morning, which is the lightest I've been since probably 8th grade or something like that, 9th grade. But practical advice is lay it out. What's the goal? What is it going to take to get there? And then pinpoint what's your issues that you're having right now, because maybe there's some people that the diet's not an issue. Maybe they don't drink. Maybe they don't eat bad food, but they don't work out consistently. And just start chipping away at whatever the issue is, whatever is hindering you, right? I knew that the diet was hindering me from being in good shape. So I kept the workout regimen going in the background, and I started chipping away at all the the diet issues that I knew that I was having that were causing me to not be able to achieve my goal. So practical advice: chip away, man. Chip away slowly. Don't do it all at once either, because it's going to be overwhelming.
Yeah, and
you'll quit.
Most
Probably
people
quit. I will. I've done that. I try to do it all at once, and I quit.
Like you were talking about what your problems were. Alcohol was one of your big ones. That might not be the same for everyone, but
yeah, it's me personally.
Most people know what's good and bad.
Yeah.
Most people know the difference between right and wrong.
Yeah.
But you never something in their mind, in my mind, in your mind too. Like us all, we're all all people here make bad decisions sometimes. But there's something about food that is just maybe because it's so easy.
It's easy.
It's always around. The convenience factor of stopping at Whataburger.
Yeah. You're programmed to want it, right? Your body wants you to take as much calories, because we have a primal background, Phil. We have a very we haven't always lived. We've evolved from a time period where you ate everything you could when you could, because you might starve to death. And now it's right there on the corner. I could spend $3 and go get 2,500 calories, from McDonald's.
But the point, and people know that that's bad.
They know that's not good. Yeah, right.
Yeah, but
I did.
But you do it anyway. So step one, it sounds like, is once you determine, identify, then you make a decision that, hey, I'm going to do this thing.
Begin.
Yeah, and actually start.
That's advice that I give a lot of, anybody who asks me about really anything that I've grown on or achieved in. I say, hey, begin, man. Begin. You got to start.
Yeah.
And when it comes to diet, I think it's so easy. It's the quick fix, right? People don't think about they don't consider the long-term goal that they have, and they're like, oh wow, this is right here in front of me, and they can eat it real quick.
And then it's over. You're like, oh
yeah. Well, and then it compounds, and then you quit, and then you move on. So okay, let's move on to the second truth.
Cool.
Another common fitness goal is to gain muscle, not necessarily gain weight. Some people want to gain weight in general, but I think muscle gain.
Yeah, most of it's very, very few. It's a small percentage.
Yeah.
People want to gain weight.
Yeah.
But people want to gain muscle, be more tone is a word that you hear a lot. Lean, things like that.
So I think muscle gain is a common one. Simple truth about that is you will have to be in caloric surplus. You will have to be eating more than you're burning. You will have to be progressively overloading your weight in the gym. So you're getting heavier, right? You're doing
more weight or more reps or more sets.
You got to be doing more and more, right? You can't do 3 sets of 10 with the same weight every single day. In
3
the gym.
sets of 10 with more weight, or 3 sets of 10 and then 3 sets of 12. Next week with the same.
Both of those overload it. Got to overload the muscle.
Yeah, both of those are considered progressive overload.
And so you have to be in a caloric surplus. You have to be progressively overloading your muscles, and you want to really take into consideration the quality of your calories. And I said caloric surplus. It's very easy. I go in there and get in a caloric surplus right now. Get some Bluebell out of the fridge, hammer a couple bites, surplus.
But with that, we got to talk what we talked about earlier. You got to continue to feel good, because will that work to gain weight?
Probably gain weight.
you'll gain weight, but are you going to feel good
No.
the whole time? You're
you
not
not?
going to get maximum effort
Nope.
while you're at the gym, which is
Play in
important.
your mind too.
It's really important when you're trying to gain that you are putting in 110% during
Yep.
your training sessions. You know,
Yep.
super important.
1000% agree, man. Other than that, I think that the main, and we may have used this word in this podcast so far, but the main point we want to get across is, you know, you gotta hammer down what the goal is. What is the end game for you? Pick something that's going to work for you. Don't pick something that you hate.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to eat cabbage only, and I hate cabbage. That doesn't work.
Time
Right.
in this game is the most important thing.
Well, that's what I was going to, is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
If you are consistent with your diet and you are consistent with your training program, you will get results. You will get results. The fruition will come if you are consistently in a caloric deficit, whether it's by 5 calories or 10 calories or 500 calories. If you do it consistently, you will start to lose weight.
Yes.
If you are in a caloric surplus, decently high quality calories, right? Decently, and you are progressively overloading your muscles, you will gain muscle. Period. End of story. And consistency is really the only thing that correlates, or that is going to be always true. You know, it's always going to produce the results, is your consistency.
Yeah, there's a
Took me about 15 minutes to say that.
there's a saying in the financial space, and I might say this wrong. So if you've heard it, correct me if I'm wrong. But they say that time in the market, like they're specifically talking about the stock market, but time in the market is more important than the money in the market. So basically, spending more time, even if it's a less total amount, will produce better results usually.
Okay.
Same thing here. Time
Spending more time following your diet and training regimen.
will give you more results than crushing it for a month and then quitting for a month.
Yeah,
And
so-
then crushing it again.
So if you got a little light flame going on for a year,
It's a lot better than
it's
a
a lot
bonfire.
better than
for
a
night.
bonfire for a week.
Yep, that's right.
I don't know why I started talking about fire. Burning calories.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm definitely not using it to cook my moose. I'm eating it raw.
You got to eat it
Because
raw.
everybody knows I eat moose only. I've never even had moose.
Raw
I've
carnivore.
never even seen a moose.
Have you ever seen those guys? Like seriously, you seen the guys that say that, you know, they're going raw carnivore?
Oh,
and
yeah.
They feel better, and people should try eating raw meat. And I'm just like, bro.
I think it's bullshit. Sorry, that's all I can say about it.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. Last thing on that is they have a product on the back end that they're trying to sell.
Well, you got to think about whenever, unrelated, but this is some good life advice that I have learned the hard way. When somebody is advising you to do something, you have to consider the source. What does that source stand to gain
Right.
if you listen to what they say? And it's marketing is all it is. You know, so if these guys are telling you to eat raw meat and they're the ones selling the raw meat, of course they're going to tell you that it's good for you.
Yeah, right.
And you know, there's nothing wrong with marketing or selling a product, but just really consider. Look, if Phil comes at you and says, "Hey, pay me a little bit of money and I'll help you get into shape," I feel like that marketing is much more reasonable than, "Hey, you should eat raw meat because I sell raw meat." And, you know what I mean? You got to take that into consideration. Right. I'm gonna do a shameless plug. Phil trains people and he does a really good job. You should call him. Seriously, very seriously. OTG Fitness is an actual thing that you can touch. Speaking of real things, I got my backdrop up, man.
Is this flag?
And by backdrop, I mean
Pretty nice.
badass American flag.
I'm ready to get mine in.
I don't even know if it's centered or not, but
Nah, it looks good. I
Does
looked
it?
in your little.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's actually like 100 feet by 300 feet because our building's so big. It just doesn't look that way, right? I think it's like 3 by 5 or something
Yeah.
like that.
Nah, it looks great.
But it is an actual real flag made by Annan, who doesn't sponsor me, and they should. Made in the USA. yeah, man, let's clean it up and close it out here.
Okay.
What's the goal? What's it going to take to get you there? And then consistently doing it, period.
Yeah.
There's no magic diet. There's no magic workout regimen. Whatever works for you. Time in the market is more important than the money in the market, right?
Yep.
So if you got a light flame burning for a year versus a bonfire for a week, the year is always going to
win.
It's always going to win.
At the end of the year.
It's going to burn more fuel.
Yep.
Yeah, guys. So consistency is the key. It sounds cliche, but personally, I've never had any diet, fitness, or workout success until I got consistent, and that was really the only thing that separate. That's the only time I created separation in my fitness, or even financially saving any money, was to be very consistent with what I was doing.
Sure.
And that's it, y'all.
Yep.
Consistency is key.
With anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, eat moose.